Hello, John.
Oliver.
And so today we're going to talk about bicycle theft all over the country, but particularly Dublin. The numbers are very, very high. There's 3,000 bicycles stolen last year from January to August. That's 2023. It seems to be a very high number of bicycles stolen. It's a very basic item for people on low incomes. It's terrible, really.
It is. But according to the cycling club spokespeople, they say it's underreported that they reckon that's about 10,000 bicycles stolen,
And
mostly in Dublin, some probably in the other cities. It's a city problem rather than, we'd say, countryside. But one can never tell either. But suffice to say, the advice seems to be that they should register their bicycles and numbers and get a good lock and to try to have some kind of safeguards and register them so that the police have some information to go on. But be that as it may, um, I think the best way is for secure places for bicycles to be in an environment where there might be seat closed circuit television, and it would be in a safer environment where these thieves that seem to sort of bicycles are parked in public places. Well, they're more vulnerable because these thieves have various ways of being able to unlock even the best of locks. Don't
I just
forget
wonder, there's
that's
somebody
their
moving your table
trade.
there, John. There's somebody moving your table.
Oh, sorry about that. Mind
Okay.
you, I don't notice it here, but it must be noticed at headquarters,
Where's more?
the kind of thing.
It is noticed at the headquarters. Absolutely. But the thing about it is, look, it's there's several things they could do. You mentioned the good points there, which is, a good lock and a good quality chain. The mistake a lot of people make is when they buy a bicycle, and I'm going to give you an example of it in a minute. What they do is they buy this kind of very light wire lock, and you can cut it open with a pliers. So there was a
Yeah.
friend of mine 10 years ago, and his mother had cancer. And so he said that he was going to raise money for the Cancer Society of Ireland by cycling around Ireland. And he adored his mammy like we all do. And so he decided this was what he was going to do to try and, look after his mother, part of his compassion towards her and to try and fight cancer. But anyway, so what he done was he spent 3,000 euros on a racing bicycle, and he was living with me at the time. And I said to him, where's your lock? And he says, it's there. He says, in the bag. And I said, show me your lock. He pulled out this wire lock, and I said, you've spent 3,000 euros on a bicycle and you've spent 20 euros on a lock. I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, you want to be spending 100 euros on a lock, 150 euros on a lock. And not only that, don't use those wire locks. Use a chain. A chain is a difficult thing to get through, especially a hardened chain, the proper chain, a good heavy one, right? So he cycled into town, okay, and that evening, within 5 hours, his bicycle was stolen.
There you are. He didn't take your advice.
He didn't take him. No, he was going to buy another lock and chain, okay. But the thing is, he
Yeah,
didn't have the
was.
time.
Yeah, well, you see, before he did anything, he had a right to consult and get advice. If he paid that much for a bike, whoever supplied the bike, I should have thrown in a good lock as well.
Hmm.
That would seem to me to be the sensible thing for wherever he bought that bike. You'd think they'd have something between up here. You call it the brain, because when a person buys a bike of that quality, it's a good blinking lock should go with it. That's what I think. And so there, the person that supplied that bike at that price was remiss in not advising the person and having the lock there, but he should be able to throw it in a one lock like what you described. But to be going around Dublin with a bicycle, it's a person want to be kind of soft in the head. It's one place that you don't need to go because years ago when I had a bicycle, and was living in Randall, and I had it in I don't know whether I had it locked in against a gate. It was in where there was a little railing. There wasn't a garden as such. And when I came out to go to work, my bicycle was gone. But and it wasn't one of these expensive bicycles. It was a very nondescript, ordinary bicycle. So, anyways, I got it later on in Kevin Street. That's where all the bicycles went that had been stolen. And I got my own bike back. So it must have been picked up somewhere. So off I went from Kevin Street on my bicycle. That's where all the lost the bicycles that they were able to bring there. They were stolen, but they might have been stolen to be disposed of. They might have been stolen by somebody that was on Shanksmere and wanted to just borrow a bicycle and go wherever they were going and not be stealing it. But the fact of the matter is, when a bicycle is missing that you're using, it it does cause problems because suddenly you have to find some other way of getting to your work, and it's not good. And so the fact that people now have so many bicycles stolen, the solution seems to be good locks. But if it's in a public sort of a place, because I often see in places no bicycles allowed here to chain against their pillars or whatever they have, or these kind of steel railings. But there should be public places for them, so as to be safe, and not alone safe, but there would be security. That seems, if people are using their bicycles to go to work, even the work should supply something safe for the bicycles to be stored. Doesn't that seem sensible and a kind of a solution for these expensive bicycles? Because if in last year that many bicycles, according to the spokespeople for the bicycle club, that it was underreported that up to 10,000 bicycles were stolen. Now, that's a big amount. So where did they dispose of them? Because I think when a person is buying a bicycle, they'd want to make sure that it wasn't stolen.
Mhm. That's the
You
thing.
know?
I just want to say table alert again, table alert. There's a shaky table. Okay, just to let you know. Okay, so the thing about it, you made a very good point there, which was when somebody is buying a bicycle, when they're being sold a bicycle, that they should be sold, maybe it should be mandatory that they're sold a quality lock. That's
Right.
a very good
That
point.
friend of yours 10 years ago,
10 years ago.
and with such an expensive bike, it was a sitting duck to be stolen
Absolutely.
because the thieves know the value of bicycles and a racing bike. Now, a racing bike is about the last thing I'd buy in a fit. I like a bicycle maybe with a gear with gears because that was considered a good thing with straight handlebars. I absolutely detest these that you bend down like a jackass on a bicycles and your head down. It can't be good for you. Can't be good for your posture. Some of them fellas won't be able to straighten out in due course. You want a bicycle that you can kind of ride in a kind of a straightforward manner, without being down like I don't know what, with your head down. You know what I'm saying? That can be dangerous. I'd say you get a hump in your back as soon as you're about 40.
That's right. The other thing, I was talking to a marathon runner. He came up from down the country for the marathon. I think it was 2 years ago. But he said to me that around the time of the marathon, there's a lot of people that come up from the country to do the marathon, the Dublin City Marathon, whatever. And he said that around those times, you got these people who don't realize the extent of the actual theft issue of bicycles in Dublin. Okay, that a lot of country people come up, they have their bicycle, they park it there in the middle of the city and they think it's fine. And they come back after the race to find that their bicycle is gone. So it's something to be very vigilant about. I think in the future, what we will have, the government has a plan to get rid of all cars in the city centre. Well, most of them anyway, except for the ones that are actually going to work, the passing through cars. But I'd imagine in the future there will be very little cars in the city anyway. And maybe they could turn the multi-store car parks into maybe bicycle areas, something like that. Maybe I don't know.
Well, they should be. Bicycles don't take up that much space, and they're often expensive for some reason. I don't think I'd buy a bicycle. I wouldn't be as stupid as to buy an expensive bicycle unless there was something wrong upstairs.
Hmm.
I'd buy a bicycle at a normal price. I saw as I could go. If I was going to pay big money, I'd buy a little car of some sort, and
Hmm.
that's what I buy. But one of the things that's very dangerous I see in the road is these kind of ones that have a battery or something. They're not bicycles, but they're going along and they're causing accidents on
Hmm.
these kind of bicycles that have some kind of that can be charged or something, or these kind of scooter things. Don't know. You probably saw them yourself, and they're dangerous, and sometimes they go on footpaths and they should never be allowed to do such a thing. So there's a lot of situations occurring, and bicycles sometimes go on footpaths, and you can be injured because they're fly past you, and you just say, "Geez, lucky enough I didn't step out this way for some reason or another,"
Hmm.
and you could be seriously injured. So there's no such thing as the law allowing bicycles to go on footpaths. That's for pedestrians for their safety. And a bicycle on a footpath with a little scut that wouldn't have respect for anybody, never mind, and going fast. And sometimes those kind of things with the batteries, and they go very fast.
Scooters,
So they can be a hazard. Aside from the hazard for the yoke that's using them, for ordinary pedestrians, no bicycle by. I think this government that's so astray in the head. They allowed this business of bicycles on footpaths. Did you ever hear that more ridiculous?
yeah. And the thing is, I suppose they haven't said how many figures they haven't shown any figures really about the recovery of bicycles, and I assume most of them probably wouldn't be recovered. But there's also tracking devices now. I mean, if you lose your headphones for your iPhone, you can track them. If you drop your headphones on the street, okay, you can track the actual headphones on Google Maps or through the app on the iPhone. So you can put your tracking device on the bicycle itself. That'd be a fairly straightforward issue. You put it under the saddle.
Would it be possible to put a tracking device on the bicycle?
Absolutely. You get tracking devices now, John. They're the size of a euro coin.
Well, that's what you'd want. But could the tracking device be stolen by the robbers?
Well, see that you'd have to conceal it either in the handlebars or under the saddle or somewhere. You'd have to put.
Aye, exactly. But they wouldn't be long checking the like of that out. But that would be a good idea, a tracking device. But I think safe zones in the city of Dublin, especially where this problem arises, and that those that steal bicycles, there should be some method of being able to sort of find out these people that are doing such a thing, and that they should be charged and with theft, which is a criminal offence, and spend a bit of time behind bars.
You're
You know,
talking.
there wants to be a deterrent. All these bicycles stolen, uh, there's no record of them being recovered because they're valuable and they won't be recovered. The same as a lot of cars used to be stolen, quality cars, and they were able to bring them to some places where they were able to doctor them in such a way and send them abroad.
That's right.
But people got for that and got jailed, and some people from Eastern Europe were involved in it more than anyone else. So these are the sort of thieves are always looking for a way to um, do what they do, what criminals
To
do.
make money, yeah. Yep.
And if they can get away with it and there's not enough investigation and all the rest of it, these things can happen. Now, a bicycle is bad enough to be stolen, but here in Oldcastle, a neighbour up the road, he happened to be going to the bathroom and he saw his vehicle being stolen at 3 o'clock in the morning. A Jeep worth maybe about 20,000.
Oh,
You know,
my
not a
lord.
new one, but one of those. And his parents had two vehicles stolen. That they were able to enter the veranda that was locked and get the keys and steal two vehicles. There was about five vehicles stolen, and I never heard about any recovery. So aside from bicycles, even in the rural areas, this was happening. And another thing that was happening was cattle was being stolen and brought, I think, up to the north.
That's it. So anyway, if people want
So
to, sorry,
yeah,
if people want to register, sorry, John, I just want to say, if people want to register their bike, they can go to www.bikeregister.ie. You know, that's a good idea.
yeah. Well, I presume anybody with a bicycle that's anyways expensive should be aware of that and be doing it. I mean, they know well enough the amount of bicycles stolen, so they'd want to be taking various precautions that it wasn't going to happen to them. And I often think if they're working in business organizations, they should also have some facilities for people with bicycles. It wouldn't cost that much because they don't take up that much space, but a secure place. Wouldn't that make sense?
It would make very good practical sense. I like it. So there you go. Thank you very much, John.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Oliver.